here on Facebook Live. I'm your host, Ari Blue. Thank you for joining me here on this Tuesday night, and I want to thank you, everyone, for joining us here today. Remember, you can get into the action here and use the hashtag AskAriBlue. You can do it on Twitter. We're active on Twitter at @_SFBN, or right here on Facebook on our comment section, or if you just make a comment on our Facebook page, we will try and get to your question. A lot to talk about. Julian Bellman filled in admirably for me last week, so thanks so much to Julian, but I'm back, and we'll get right into the questions. We had some questions that were submitted earlier here today. Let's get into question number one. This is a lacrosse question. This comes in from Brandon W. Who will win the Inter-Ac Challenge? That's a great question. And looking at the bracket right now, I would have to say the three favorites are the Haverford School, Malvern Prep, both from the Inter-Ac, and then Culver Academy coming in from Indiana. They're kind of the outsider, but they are a very good team, and they won the whole thing last year. Now, Haverford School did beat Culver already this year in a non-league game. So if they match up again, that is possible that Haverford School wins the whole thing. But if I were to have to make a prediction, I would say right now Culver is the favorite. But we'll see what happens. Haverford School and Malvern, depending on what happens tomorrow night in the quarterfinals, Haverford plays the Hun School and Malvern plays Lawrenceville School. Malvern and Haverford should both win those games. Then the winner of that game is going to ultimately go on to the championship game between Haverford and Malvern. So one of those two teams definitely won't make the championship game because of the way the bracket is. So Culver should get through their bottom half, although Episcopal Academy could pose a challenge to them. And Culver does play Penn Charter tomorrow night, so Penn Charter did beat the Haverford School earlier this year. So you can't write off the Quakers quite yet. But I'm going to make a prediction. To answer your question, Brandon, I'm going to go with Culver. And a side note here, in respect to the Inter-Ac Invitational, we will broadcast that live here on Facebook. That's right, SFBN is going to be broadcasting those games. It's going to be Friday, the semifinals, live from Cabrini College. That'll be at 5 and 7 p.m. And then Sunday will be the championship game, May 21st. That will be live from Kelly Field in Westchester, PA. Our very own Mike Samsel will have the call, and the color commentator will be Scott Gabrielson, who's done the games for a number of years, including when they aired on the Comcast network over the last couple of seasons. So SFBN is honored to be bringing you the Inter-Ac Invitational Lacrosse semifinals and championship this coming Friday, May 19th. At 5 and 7, and then Sunday at 5 p.m. So thank you for the question, Brandon, and I hope that everybody tunes in to the Inter-Ac Invitational semis and championship right here on Facebook Live. Let's get to another question. We did get a question coming in on Facebook, so we'll get to that in just a moment. There are a couple of questions that were submitted prior, so we're going to get to that first here. So this question came in. This came in from Sam G. Who are some of the top players in the Football City All-Star Classic? Okay, thank you for the question. That is referring to another game that we're going to be covering on SFBN, the Philadelphia City All-Star Football Game, a huge tradition in the city of Philadelphia. We will broadcast that game live on Facebook as well, Saturday night, May 20th at 5 p.m. Yes, I know what you're thinking. We have a very busy weekend, but it's going to be a lot of fun. So that game will be right here on Facebook. That's the public versus non-public. And answering your question, Sam, some of the top players, starting with the non-public roster, I look at Cy Madden, the running back from LaSalle. He's going to start the game. He is one of the top running backs in the entire area, so look out for him. At the quarterback position, you don't have the Anthony Russo this year, the big name recruit that's now at Temple. He's going to be in his redshirt freshman year. Rob King, starting quarterback for Father Judge, he will probably start the game. He's a guy that is very solid, and Father Judge did not bode that well this year in that top division in the 6A division when they had to play LaSalle and St. Joe's Prep. But King, a very good player. You'll also see a little bit of Michael Natkowski, the quarterback from Penn Charter, a 4-year starter for the Quakers, one of the lone Inter-Ac representative. There's a couple of guys from Chestnut Hill Academy as well. So those are some of the players that really stand out to me Amadou Berry, a very good wide receiver at West Catholic. Sean Thompson, the fullback from Archbishop Wood, great player as well. So that's on the non-public side. On the public side, you're looking at a lot of the players from Imhotep Charter. Mike Crawford, a great defensive back from Imhotep. I would say that he's probably one of the best athletes going to be playing in the game. Ezekiel Lopez, a good wide receiver from Frankfurt. Amir Lewis, looks like he's going to be playing quarterback. He's from Imhotep Charter. Then you got a couple of guys from Del Val Charter. Sharon Whitaker, a very good defensive back as well. And a lot of the linemen coming in from Imhotep Charter and Northeast. There's a good Northeast running back, defensive back, Jaquan Amos. So it's going to be a very interesting game. Public won it last year. I would say non-public probably with the edge this year. But we'll see what happens. But thank you for the question, Sam G. I appreciate it. We are going to now hop to our first question submitted here on Facebook. This came in from Peter O'Connor. And his question, when do you think the PIAA will separate public and private schools for championships in football? Great question, Pete. Thanks so much for submitting the question. That's a great question. And that's one that a lot of people, especially in this area, are asking, because you take a look at the schools with open enrollment, the Catholic schools and the charter schools, not only in Philadelphia, but also in the Pittsburgh area, that have an advantage because they can really get anybody from anywhere. They're not limited to their geographic region because they are open enrollment. That is actually in the conversation right now. We actually met with some officials at the PIAA, asked them about this, and they have a competition committee going on right now. They're trying to decide if they should separate the open enrollment schools with the true public schools to give the public schools really a fair advantage. So if you're asking me when do I think it will happen, I think you're looking at probably 2019 would be the earliest. So I'm going to say 2 football seasons from now. But it is in the conversation, and I think people realize that there is an issue with it, and there's a competition committee looking at that. So thank you for the question, Pete. It's a great question, and it's something that a lot of people are bringing up. We got another question here. We got more questions, but before we get to that, we want to again remind you to go to our website, www.thesfbn.com. A lot of great stuff on there. You can watch our past episodes of Varsity Voice as originally aired on the Comcast Network and Comcast Sportsnet from this past fall of 2016 and this winter of 2017. There's a lot of great content. We have some great lacrosse articles that we just put up there. We also have some great original photos as well from some events that we've covered, and also our past broadcasts, and also our upcoming broadcasts, which we mentioned a couple of those. We have the Inter-Ac Invitational coming up Friday and Sunday, and then the City All-Star football game on Saturday. We have another question coming in on Facebook. We'll get to that right now. Excuse me for a second. This came in from Zach. Will you be covering the PAISSA baseball tournament? And for those of you not familiar, PAISSA is basically the private schools version of the PIAA. And unfortunately, the answer is no, Zach. I'm sorry. We won't be covering the PAISSA baseball tournament. We were looking at possibly covering some baseball games, but instead we're going to be covering some softball games in the Philadelphia Catholic League. That'll actually be next week. Monday, a 3 and 5 p.m. doubleheader for the Philadelphia Catholic League semifinals. And then Wednesday, the Philadelphia Catholic League softball championship at 4 p.m. All those games will be broadcast to you live from Arcadia. We may do On Location in the Circle, our softball show, which you can also see here on Facebook Live on Monday, but it definitely will be Monday night after those games. So a lot going on in the softball world on Monday. But Zach, unfortunately, I'm sorry, we won't be covering any baseball coming up here for whether it's PIAA, Public League, Catholic League, or PAISSA. We're not covering any baseball. We'll cover it. I'll tell you what, if you continue to submit some questions, Zach, and that goes for everybody else here out here on Facebook, we'll continue to talk baseball. I know there's a lot going on now with lacrosse and softball, but we'll make sure to touch on the PAISSA tournament and keep you posted as to what's going on right here on Q&A with Ari Blue. We just won't be broadcasting any games. Okay, we get to it. Let's get to another question now. This was submitted prior to the show. This came in from Jim P. What will be your upcoming softball coverage is what he asked. Okay, well, Jim kind of answered part of that question. We'll be covering the PCL softball semis on Monday. And next Wednesday, not tomorrow, next Wednesday we'll be covering the PCL Softball Championship. And, of course, we have our show In the Circle, which I just mentioned. That'll be airing next Monday after the completion of the PCL semifinals, whether it's on location at Arcadia or live here from our studio. We'll be on the air Monday. And we'll continue to air In the Circle, run our show here on Facebook Live with my co-host Dave Ciccoletti of the Chamonix Softball. We'll probably go into, mid-June as we watch some of our local teams, especially in Suburban 1 and in the Catholic League, as they march on in the PIAA playoffs. So still a lot more softball to cover, that's for sure, right here on Facebook Live between In the Circle here on Facebook Live, and then also our Catholic League coverage. That'll be on our website through our PCL portal. And speaking of our website, you can watch those games through thesfbn.com. Just go to our website, and there is a link to go to the PCL specific portal. Those games are pay-per-view because they are high-quality softball games. But again, you can go to our website and find out more information about everything that we do. We watch past Varsity Voice shows, our fresh content, our past broadcasts, our upcoming schedule, everything that we have going on SFBN, in addition to that link to watch the PCL softball semifinals and championship. Well, we got a lot of great questions, and we had some great questions here on Facebook. And again, you just saw it. Our website has all the information you need to know about SFBN, whether it's our upcoming games and everything that we've done in the past and everything that we are coming up and covering in the future. So thank you so much to everybody for submitting questions here on Q&A with Ari Blue. I'll be back on air here on Facebook Live with another edition of Q&A with Ari Blue next Tuesday night. But we have a lot to cover between now and then. Again, make sure you tune in to the Inter-Ac Lacrosse Invitational on Friday and Sunday, and then our City All-Star football game broadcast on Saturday. A lot of great stuff coming up here on Facebook Live. I'm Ari Bluestein. You've been watching Q&A with Ari Blue here on Facebook Live. Have a great night.